Dun, 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 dun. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. How is everyone doing? It's supper time. Yes, it's supper time. Let's eat up. How's everyone doing? For me, it's breakfast time. You're in Japan? Wow, amazing. And honestly, like, I noticed in Japan, they don't really have, like, breakfast per se. Like, the meals for breakfast are, like, straight up what you kind of have for lunch. And I actually loved that. It's like seaweed and rice and, like, pickled root vegetables. It's delicious. It's time to eat predators. God, do we have so much? My nervous system is honestly feels like it's fried in the last 24 hours, honestly, from everything that all the news I've gotten, some really incredible updates. We're going back to Scientology this time at the Celebrity Center, and we're coming with a lot more people. I don't know if anyone saw, but Aaron from Growing Up in Scientology is flying out for the protests. We will have survivors on the ground at this protest, and I'm so like stoked, and I'm nervous, and you know, the typical feelings before a protest. But it's so powerful, especially since the last protest was 8 people showed up to that protest, and just knowing that it had an impact, a very huge impact on certain individuals, and how now we're going to be able to go back with a lot more people. So I know, Aaron, I can't wait to meet Aaron in person. It's going to be wild. I'm sure Scientology is not thrilled. Hey, Peyton, thank you so much. I'm sure Scientology is not thrilled that we're coming back, but boo-hoo. I do not care whatsoever. I don't care whatsoever. It's time for the takedown of Scientology, honestly. Too long, too many crimes, just too much cover up, and it's time for us to take a stand against these, my opinion, predators. So really excited about that. That's going to be October, what is it again? October 21st? October 21st, right? I'm getting that right? Hopefully someone can correct me if 21st on Saturday. Saturday, 1 to 4. I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much for joining this Friday. I wasn't able to go live yesterday because my husband had work, and so I had the kids, and so I spent time with them, which was really nice. And so that's why I wasn't able to go live yesterday, but I'm happy to be here today, and thank you so much for joining. Do you think celebrities in Scientology regularly go to the Celebrity Center, or is it for specific events only? No, celebrities apparently do go to the Celebrity Center, and also apparently even like their PR agents or agents in general or anyone associated with the celebrity is also able to reap the benefits of staying at, I don't want to call it benefits, whatever. They get to stay at the Celebrity Center as well, which is pretty interesting. So we got Hollywood dabbling in Scientology. Yeah, October 21st, 1 to 4. If I go from Chile to protest with you, I swear. Aw, thank you so much, Monty. I wish you were able to attend as well. Well, maybe one day you'll be in Los Angeles during some protests. I hope we get to meet you in person. The celebs regularly go there. It's where they get their Scientology services, like auditing. Yeah, they're auditing. Exactly. That's exactly what happens there, which is like auditing. What I've learned, or I keep learning, is that this auditing situation is really just a way for Scientologists to get access on these individuals' personal stories and use it as blackmail, basically. Use it against them when they want to, essentially leave the cult. Then they bring out all of the audits, etc., and find how they can trigger them, manipulate them, and scare them out of leaving. Is Will Smith a Scientologist? I don't know. Is Will Smith? I don't think Will Smith's a Scientologist. I honestly haven't heard that, but I mean, I'm really not surprised at this point. There are so many celebrities that are a part of Scientology. It's kind of scary. I saw like Elizabeth Moss. Is that her name? She was in a Mad Men, and I actually worked with her. I had no idea she was a Scientologist, but apparently she is. Will you stream live on the 21st? Yes. So I'm going to be going live at the protest with survivors. It's going to be like, I was crying last night, honestly. Just crying after some messages that I got and learning about who's going to be there, which I don't want to share here, quite yet until those people share the flyer themselves and reveal that themselves. But just to know how survivors are legit starting to unite and come together, not even against, their own predators or the organizations or the institutions that were covering it up, but also survivors are showing up for other survivors. And that's honestly what I personally love to see. I also want these predators to start noticing like, hey, we're showing up. We're showing up for other survivors. It's not even just us. Like we said, one of us, all of us, and start getting used to it. This protest is going to really be impactful in a way that I personally haven't seen fully on my journey with e-predators. Like this one is this is really impactful, like extremely. Hi, happy to catch another live. Oh, hi, Andrea. Hi, welcome. So glad you were able to make it. Oh, wait, you know what? Now that since we're talking about it, like let's show the flyer, shall we? I definitely want to. Let me bring it up really quickly. Where are you? There you are. Okay, look. Check it out, guys. So Miko did the graphic design for this, my husband. And it's basically mimicking the plaque that is outside of the Scientology Celebrity Center. And so we thought it would be fun to, make a little jab at them and also let them know that we are on our way. Hi, Jaden. Welcome, Jaden. So nice to see you. So there it is. And we got Power to Survivors right there in gold, which I'm sure Scientology is not happy about it. Oh yeah, I think Laura is going to be there again. I can't wait to see Laura again. Laura is amazing. We adore Laura. What a strong survivor. She really inspired me at that protest. Like really, really, really inspired me. She's like, I felt like very outspoken on my megaphone, but honestly, like she was like powerful without a megaphone. And it was really honestly beautiful to see. So yeah, here is our official flyer, you guys. I hope if you are in the Los Angeles area that you're able to participate and show up. If you're not able to physically be there, we will be live streaming this protest. So please try and share it with friends, family, to kind of boost these survivors' voices collectively. So if you can't participate in person, then virtually is a great way to stand up against Scientology and stand with the survivors of Scientology. So very, very happy that our community is going to be able to stand in solidarity with these survivors. It's going to be, woo! Oh, hi, Anna C. Nice to see you, Anna C. How has the actors' strike affected the protesting? My protesting specifically, or just like protesting in general? I was like about to give birth when SAG went on the strike, and I haven't been able to go to the picket line basically yet. And it looks like they haven't come to a deal. And so I'm hoping that maybe I'll be able to participate, maybe next week and just show up. But it hasn't affected the one protest we've done thus far. Let's see. Hello. Seriously, Miko does a really good job on the flat. Hi, Shay. Oh, nice to see you, Shay. Yes. Yeah. Miko is honestly really good at graphic design. What's funny about it is he wasn't doing this before, and kind of learned through Eat Predators, and he just keeps getting better and better. And it's honestly great to see him. Like he's really starting to shine with these graphics, like 100%. He does have design skills. Oh, this is so nice to see everybody. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so obviously, Eat Predators Daily, it does not have a sponsor, even though I'm always here with my Boochcraft. But we do not have a sponsor, and so ways to support the channel and support, the message, the mission that Eat Predators is on. Here's a few ways that you can help. Obviously, the membership through YouTube is a really, really helpful way to keep this sustainable. And also, oh my God, I'm so excited to share this. Actually, I totally forgot until right now. So we have new merch. And this piece of merch I've wanted for so long, and for some reason it was the last one that we put on there, which I'm not really sure why, but I think it was a font thing. Like, I wanted to make sure the font was really cool, or at least cool to me, and that it was impactful, and I didn't know if I was wanting to make it a t-shirt first or a tote or whatever. And so you guys, okay, so obviously the merch is also a way to keep Eat Predators sustainable, help support. You can also share the message with people on the street, wearing the shirt or the bag, etc. It's a great way to start the conversation around these topics. And we really, really appreciate you for participating in that. But you guys, look. Wait, where'd it go? Wait, I don't see it. Oh, here it is. There it is. Oh my God, I'm so excited, guys. Here we go. So we got the Power to Survivors totes. I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to rock it. Honestly, this is probably now like my favorite piece that we have on our website. Oh, Alexa, Shay has a good merch idea. Please let me know. Shay, definitely let me know. So we just launched this. So I'm super excited about it. So if you want to rock it, it's on our website, eatpredators.com. We got Power to Survivors tote bag. I think it came out like 2 days ago. People have been buying it, and it's so nice to see that survivors and allies are actually buying it and supporting the message. Like, this is just had to grab the power bag. So dope. Oh, JC, did you get it? That's awesome. I'm so excited to get mine. Let me know when you get yours. I'm going to bring it on the show like 100%. So so the merch is a great way to help the channel and help what we're doing. And then also we got the Patreon. And our Patreon is specifically for the protests. It helps create the artivism part of Eat Predators, which are these signs behind me. I try to make them extremely informational, like information on the actual sign, but also make them kind of fun and get creative with them. So that helps for the protests specifically, is the Patreon. And like I like to say, if you don't want to become a member per se, or you don't want to buy merch, but you do want to show up for survivors in some type of way, the Patreon is a really, really great way of doing that. And so those are our sponsors for Friday. Eat Predators sponsoring Eat Predators. So thank you all. Anyone purchasing the merch, anyone who is a Patreon member, anyone who's a member on YouTube, and even just anyone watching and liking and subscribing, like, you matter, and thank you so much. So what are we going to get into today? Oh, I have it. Well, all right. I don't know if anyone's heard about this, but let me go back to my face cam. So we've heard about Trevor Bauer, and the recent lawsuit that he was in with a survivor by the name of I'm getting this right, Lindsay Hill. My mom brain right now is not the best, so if I am wrong about that, please correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's what her name is. And let's just say that the lawsuit came to a settlement where there was no money that was exchanged. So neither Trevor and apparently not Lindsay exchanged any money whatsoever. And there was some type of insurance claim, I guess, that was like $300K that Lindsay Hill got. And I'm assuming that has to do with the injuries. I'm not quite sure about the insurance situation. But I know that it caused a lot of triggers for survivors out there, especially because it was really framed. This is, in my opinion, as a survivor that wasn't a survivor, and she was a liar, and she was a gold digger. And that's really kind of the message that was being, is that Nova in the background? I hear Nova. Nova's not happy that I'm down here. Sorry, Nova. I love you, Nova. I'll see you in a little bit, Nova. So the message that really got out there quickly was, I guess, what the Andrew Tates out there want to hear, which was this woman was a liar. She was after his bag. She wanted X, Y, and Z. It was consensual, yada, 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 yada. And it really kind of made a lot of survivors feel, not the best, to be quite honest with you. And when I was looking at it, I was like, wait a second. First of all, like, my survivor brain is just right away, like, suspicious when I hear she was lying, when I hear she was after his money. Those things are usually used as a tactic for victim blaming. And then I did see the messages about her talking about his bag of money. I did see those. And my stance on that aspect is it doesn't mean that she's not a survivor, right? Let's say Lindsay Hill, for example, was in awe of his bag, and was throwing around that she wanted to have part of his bag, right? It doesn't mean that person can't be a survivor. And, we're not educated enough in the survivor sphere in general to understand that there's a lot of nuances when it comes to consent. There's a lot of things that it's not really like black or white, kind of. There are things that people don't understand. And so the more that I was looking into it, I just started seeing red flags where I saw a message that she sent him or was it to her cousin? Yeah, it was to her cousin, I think. She sent this message to her cousin being like, I didn't know he was going to go this far with it. And so when I read that, it's like, here. So apparently, allegedly, she asked him to choke her, right? And here's the thing. Choking doesn't mean beating. Okay? So let's just get that straight right away. Choking is a very different experience than getting your face beaten. And when I saw the images of Lindsay Hill, they were so horrific and so triggering to see that for me personally, I mean, what's so interesting is Brian Freeman is actually Lindsay Hill's lawyer. And I'm always a little sus about that because I don't really trust him as a lawyer for survivors, right? Like, we know the allegations against Brian Freeman, and that's why I asked at the state bar, like, is that a perceived conflict of interest? Having a lawyer who's been accused of gang SA, for example, of a minor, is it okay for him to represent survivors without full disclosure? Like, if these survivors don't know, like, is that a perceived conflict? In my opinion, it worries me. I wouldn't want a lawyer representing me that, was accused of that, because I don't know if I can trust him. I don't know if that person is legit on my side as a survivor. I just can't personally be sure of that. And so therefore I don't really want that type of lawyer. I wouldn't feel safe having someone like Brian Freeman represent me. But here's Brian Freeman representing Lindsay Hill. And he did say a statement that, I do agree with. He was saying that if you look at the image of Lindsay Hill, her face, there's no way that you can even legally give consent for that. And I thought it was interesting because if we think about, DV, for example, and I think it is DV Awareness Month. And so I think this is a good topic to honestly talk about. Because if we're talking about DV, let's say the police show up, right? And Lindsay Hill had all of the marks and bruising and swelling that she allegedly had, right? Or to me, she had them. There's a photograph of it. A police officer would not really victim blame her in that situation. He wouldn't necessarily say, did you want that? Did you ask for him, to do that to you, right? Probably not. Probably not going to ask that. But because Trevor Bauer said that it was can I say this? Sexual situation, then all of a sudden there's all this room for, did she want it? Right? And to me, when I look at that, I don't know, man. I don't really like anybody that's doing that to anyone ever. I don't trust that individual. That is violence. That is straight up violence. And I'm not for it. That's for sure. I'm not pro whatever the fuck that honestly was. I'm not pro that. It gives me a lot of red flags. And I know that there are survivors out there that have gone into rough sex scenarios where people didn't respect the safe words, for example, and things got out of line. And even though they were engaging in something called like rough sex, sometimes those lines can get very blurred. Those lines can get very blurred and things can happen and people can get hurt. And it cannot be consensual. Remember, consent can be reversed, right? Like, we got to remind ourselves and everyone around us that even if you've given consent at one point, you are able to take back that consent. And the more that I was looking into Lindsay Hill's story, I started to really see that was the case, right? She was going into it thinking this one thing, and then it got out of hand. It got out of line, allegedly. And then look at her face. I mean, I just want to say trigger warning when you do look up anything about Lindsay Hill, because the images are so sad. And I just hated to see that. And then you see now Trevor Bauer coming forward, making this whole open letter, for example, to the camera, really convincing the public that she was this gold digger, this liar. She wanted it. And, that's that. But people forget that she was not allegedly the only person who has accused Trevor Bauer of SA, right? Lindsay Hill was not I don't know if anyone knows this story, but she's not the only one. He's been accused multiple times. And so that's already another red flag, right? When I hear that, I'm like, I don't know. If there's more than one, that's definitely a red flag for me personally. And then looking at her image, just didn't sit right with me. And so I do want to pull up a couple things about this case, because I don't think a lot of people know all the details when it comes to the Trevor Bauer case. And I know that there are a lot of back and forth on this. And I just want to remind everybody that we can disagree about things and still have a conversation about it and be respectful of one another. And what I really don't want to see is survivors ever feel like they're going to lose their survivor allies if they believe someone is a survivor or not, right? I just want to make sure that as survivors that we are constantly letting our fellow other survivors in our community, let them know that we're never abandoning them, right? Like, you know, we can have these different point of views and still respect one another and stand in solidarity. And so going into this, please be mindful of that in the chat. I don't know if there's anybody who is a pro Trevor Bauer person, pro Lindsay Hill, whatever, but let's just remain very respectful, ask questions, get curious about this, and have like a very informative conversation about it versus triggering one another and arguing. So let's keep it mellow. Let's pull it up. Here we go. Okay. So the article that I found, well, I'm pretty sure that I'm able to show this image, you guys. Let's look at this image here. So this was Lindsay Hill. This is one of the images out of a few that I have seen. One of them was even, I hate to say this, like it was even worse than that image. But as you can see, she's pretty bruised there. Really heartbreaking to see. This is her, I guess now, and she is 27 years old. This guy right here is Trevor Bauer. He played for the Dodgers. He no longer plays for them anymore. He's in Japan. They got rid of him when this Lindsay Hill story came to light. So reading into this, where was it? There was a nurse, basically. Like, she went to the hospital. There's actual conversation. Here it is. Here we go. So here's the alleged text messages. It looks like it said, "What the fuck is he thinking?" Then Lindsay Hill, I'm pretty positive here, allegedly goes, "He felt so bad. I literally had no idea it was going to be that bad." So here she is, obviously saying that she was not aware it was going to be that bad. So again, talking about consent. Consent can be reversed. Also, you can say, you know, yes to this one thing that could be considered rough, for example, and it can get out of line, and then you are no longer okay with that, right? So consent is reversible. And so reading that, I mean, we can all have our own opinions here, but it really seems like she did not know it was going to get that bad. And she goes, "Like, I'm okay, but holy shit." And as a survivor, I've been there before, where you basically reach out to somebody about what happened to you. And not only are you reaching out to them to kind of tell them, but you're also trying to gauge if you are overreacting. Like, I've been there before. I don't know if any other survivors have, but sometimes you reach out to community to kind of gauge if something is extremely wrong or not, or if you're taking it personally and actually, you know, it wasn't that bad. And so what I'm kind of feeling with Lindsay Hill's text message there is that she's like literally asking, like, holy shit. Like, there's even question marks with her exclamation marks where she's trying to be like, hello, like, did what happened to me happen to me? You know, and in total shock. In total shock. This man doesn't have control over himself. Yeah, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, he gives me the red flags. And so let's keep reading this text message because I find it very interesting. Then the person goes, okay, I thought he like actually got violent. It's like, by the way, I'm sorry to this friend or this cousin, but if you saw that image of her, that is violent. And again, just because the scenario is sexual, it doesn't mean it's not violent. How's that for spelling today? But you know what I mean? That doesn't disregard the violence, in my opinion. And so it's interesting that she said that, or he said that, or they said that. As long as it was consensual, I don't have to kill him. Interesting conversation. Then I guess Lindsay Hill says it was consensual, but like didn't expect two black eyes. Again, Question mark, exclamation mark. Like he took it too far. Don't you think? LOL. And here, the LOL, yo, it seems to me, if looking at that image, she's probably in shock by what happened to her and nervous laughing and, trying to maybe even be tough about it and maybe not seem like she's overreacting. And also she might be confused because she went into this scenario, maybe wanting safe words, etc., and experimenting, yada, 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 but it turned into something else, allegedly. It turned into something else. And you know what, guys? That is totally possible. It's not possible. Just because she went into it with this one state of mind doesn't mean she can't retract that when it gets out of hand, out of line. And so it's like consensual. Was it consensual? But let's keep reading here. Then she goes, it was consensual, but like didn't expect two black eyes. Like he definitely took it too far, don't you think? Lol. Then yeah, Jesus fucking Christ, Bauer, take a goddamn chill pill. Not normal. Touch chill, please. So reading that conversation, I mean, let's talk about it in the chat for a little bit. If you received a text message from one of your friends and it was an image like Lindsay Hill's? Let's go back to it, actually. Let's go back to that image. Where are you? Let's go back to this image, right? Let's say this happened to a friend of yours, and she or he or they are messaging you, asking you, did this person take it too far, right? Did this person take this too far? And they're asking you, almost reaching out to you. What would be probably the proper way of responding as a bystander? Because this cousin of hers, whoever it is, friend, cousin, was a bystander in this moment. And in my personal opinion, I don't think the questions that were asked were necessarily fully helpful for Lindsay. So I want to see in the chat, how would you respond to a friend of yours with this image, and that person saying they didn't expect for this person to go as far as they did? Yeah. Oh my God, to the police right now. Yeah. Okay. Police. I see that. I would call police ASAP. Agreed. In my opinion, abusers, predators try to gaslight the survivors and make them feel like what happened wasn't a big deal. Exactly. Yup. And she really liked this guy. Yeah. She thought they had connections and then he flipped on her and she was scared. It's hard to admit to friends because she knows it was too far, but she is conflicted. Yes, that's what I felt as well. It felt like Lindsay was conflicted about what had happened to her. And maybe something that she was consenting to changed, right? And it's totally possible for that to happen. And, we don't have enough education around these things, right? And the way that Trevor is, in my opinion, framing it is to take out all of the things that make this survivor seem unlikable. That's fine. There is no perfect survivor, right? There might be survivors that you don't personally get along with, even a survivor might not be best friends with another survivor. That's not the point. The point is not about liking survivors. It's not allowing anyone to get hurt whatsoever. Right? Silence is violence. And so no one, even if you like that person or not, does not deserve to be essayed, to be physically abused, for example. These things, they don't deserve them. And that's just like another red flag for me, is that when he came forward after this lawsuit, he right away went into the tropes of a survivor. She's a gold digger. She's a liar. She wanted my money. And it was consensual. And we hear that so many times that it's kind of getting tiring. And also now my spidey senses start to go out and up when I hear these things. And he only showed very specific evidence. The evidence that he showed was a conversation, taken out of context. Like I didn't get to see the whole body of the conversation, but he took certain excerpts of it where she's talking about his money, wanting access to his money, etc. Again, she could have been wanting his money, right? It doesn't mean that she wanted to be abused, though. So that's how an alleged predator can kind of work their way around this with the public, right? Because you have to remember that people that meet predators and they're like, oh, he was so nice to me or she was so nice to me, blah, 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 blah. I can't picture them doing that. Here's the thing you have to understand. They're manipulating you too. So your perspective of them is actually not the real version of them. You are also a victim and prey to them as a bystander. As a bystander, the predator is also preying on the bystanders, and they'll manipulate and act a certain way to essentially get no one to interfere or to demand accountability, et cetera, et cetera. And we saw this with Mila Kunis and we saw this with Ashton Kutcher. Very public example. But this happens all the time for survivors. A lot of the bystanders, friends, family, etc., will go, I don't see this person as that. They never treated me like that. And that's because you're getting manipulated too, just in a different way, right? The survivor is getting to see the very harsh reality of them. And then the predator is showing you the side that creates safety for them. Not safety for the survivor. A predator is also always trying to create safety for themselves. For themselves. Right? Because if the herd, for example, starts to tell each other there's a predator around, then that predator is not going to be able to get its meal. Right? Because they're going to flee. And once they communicate with one another, that's the downfall for the predator. Okay, like literally like in the wilds. And so that's a predator's job, is to isolate the victim most of the time and then get everyone around them to trust them. That they're not a predator, that they're a branch, sorry to make a joke out of this, but like camouflage, predators will camouflage with those around them so that no one notices what they're doing. And what they actually are doing is preying. They're preying on everyone. And sadly, the bystanders as well are the prey as well. What is Shay saying here? The police officers taking police reports for SA and other abuse need to be trauma informed. Completely agree with you. The way some survivors are treated by police when reporting is horrific. It is horrific. We talked about that in another live. It's absolutely horrific, and they are not trauma informed. And most of the time, they're actually victim blaming. The system is a mess. So, anyways, when I heard that Trevor Bauer had this video that came out, doing the typical checkpoint of making the survivor look like X, Y, and Z, instead of jumping right away into a triggering feeling, I actually wanted to ask questions, right? And start to investigate for myself. And it's really important that we all do that for anything. Like, you want to look at it. You want to look at what happened here as much as you can. You don't want to take a biased approach to it. You want to look at it. And when I was looking at it and looking at these messages, his video seemed less and less believable. It just seemed less and less believable. Also because she wasn't the only person to come forward. And so usually where there's smoke, there's fire. And just looking at her text messages alone made me feel very suspicious of him. And that's just my opinion. Christian, the fact that Lindsay, like so many survivors, have to question whether or not they're overreacting when they're clearly being abused says everything about how conscious we are about predatory behavior. So true, Christian. That is so true. What Christian said there is very, very fucking true. It's like, even for a survivor to have to doubt their own moral compass within, and reach out to others to get guidance, etc. when they were the one who experienced it themselves, says a lot about the education, even for the survivor, even for the survivor. And yes, most cops are abusers. Very, very true. And abusive in general. So very good point, Christian. It really tells us where we're at. And that's why it's so important for us to stay allies and stand up for one another, because the more that we can educate others, even as bystanders, we can really prevent a lot of future victims, to be quite honest with you. Let's go, though, to another text message that I found was very, very interesting. So here we go. So here's Trevor and Lindsay having a conversation. This is after Lindsay Hill was allegedly beaten. Wait. Oop, no, come back. Come back. There we go. Okay, so here she is saying she went to the hospital. They said the bruises/swelling on my face and jaw will be gone in about 1 week. And then for the head symptoms, I'm not sure, probably a weekish too. It's better. It just makes me want to sleep a lot. I just want it all to go away. This doesn't seem like somebody, in my opinion, you guys, that necessarily wanted this, like he's saying. Because if she's wanting it all to go away, reaching out to her friend, cousin, saying that this went a little too far, you guys, I'm starting to feel that Lindsay Hill is a survivor in this situation. But let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. He goes, I feel so bad that this happened. Really? Really, Trevor? You didn't seem like you felt really that bad in that open letter video, in my opinion. Wish I could be there with you through it. You know how many times I heard an alleged predator, try and look like they're sorry. We saw that also with what's his name? What the fuck is that guy's name? The guy from Rick and Morty, right? Rick and Morty. We saw him apologizing and then going right back and doing it again. So he would apologize to the victim, to the survivor, and then next victim, next survivor, right? But anyone who's apologizing, by the way, is admitting to something that happened. And it seems like in this situation that he is at least admitting that something did happen, and that Lindsay is hurt, right? I don't think it takes that much to see that part. So let's keep going. Just grateful that you are showing that you care. I mean, this is so sad. I absolutely do never want to see you hurting. Heart emojis. Okay, so now at least we can say we've seen her reaching out to a friend, concerned about what happened to her, gauging to see if something bad did indeed happen to her. And then we also see a conversation with Trevor, allegedly, where they're discussing the wounds. The wounds. And so right then and there, regardless of what we're going to see later on with Trevor's video, for me, it feels like this individual didn't know what she was honestly about to experience with Trevor Bauer. She knew maybe he was rough, but she didn't understand at what great lengths that would go with him. And so that's honestly, personally, what I'm feeling. But what I do want to pull up is something very, very heartbreaking that I do want. So trigger warning about this, but I think it's important for us to hear, because this was the nurse who took a look at Lindsay when she had these wounds. And so I'm gonna pull it up here. Let's go back to this article. Let me see if I can find, where is it? But I had to get protection for myself. She goes, I have to deal with sadness every day, and living in fear of Trevor Bauer is brutal. Which, when her lawyer, Lisa, asked Hill if she was motivated by a desire for publicity, money, or revenge, she replied, no, because that makes sense to me. Even if she was getting into it with him because she was impressed by him being a Dodgers guy, whatever, money, etc., It doesn't mean that she's coming forward and claiming that she was abused because of that, right? That's not necessarily that's not necessarily the intention whatsoever. So two very different things. Two very different things. And instead of or could be taking place here. And we have to understand that. Do you tell Mr. Bauer you were sharing those screenshots? No. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So after this, right, there was a nurse by the name of Kelly Valencia. She said, I had never seen that type of bruising to the V area in my experience. It was frankly alarming. Nurse Valencia told the court, describing Hill's V bruising as red/purple. She said that during the exam, she noticed Hill also had bruising to both NIPP, LES, and both buttocks, bruising to both eyes, a right cheek bruise, left cheek swelling, and bruising inside of her mouth. I mean, let me just say that one more time. Like, here she is. She's literally saying that it was alarming, and that she's never seen that type of bruising ever. And what Lindsay claims to have had happened was that he was punching her area, which is just, you guys, like, either way, I don't like you, Trevor Bauer. That's really kind of what I'm personally getting at personally. Like, I don't like anyone who is doing this to any individual. And I also don't like that he apparently gets off on it. That to me seems like somebody who I don't want near me, my friends, my family, or anyone, because that is a danger. That is extremely dangerous because someone could be going into it, experimenting with their sexuality, for example, having safe words, etc. And it can go too far and actually hurt somebody so badly that when they come forward about what happened to them, right? No one believes them because they're like, oh, but you said you wanted to be choked, or you said that you wanted X, Y, and Z. And it's like, that's very scary. Lindsay Hill is very brave. Because to go up against Trevor Bauer, A, is unreal. And B, to go up against him in a system that's so patriarchal and full of victim blaming. Like, do you think she really wants this type of attention? Do you think she wanted to show her face to the world like this? To just what? Get the bag? I don't think that's what she necessarily meant by the bag. Maybe she wanted to marry him. Maybe she wanted to go out to dinner. Maybe it was a saying, whatever. That doesn't mean that she would go through all of this for that. You know what I mean? Just seems like she took a lot of hits that she didn't want. And I personally think she is brave for coming forward with her story. I think I want to see, I actually don't like to see that, but I do feel inspired by Lindsay Hill. Because for me, for example, my ABUSER, my predator, groomed me into marriage. And that was a huge loophole. A huge obstacle course to get around, because people were like, but you married him. And there's photos of you guys happy. And were some experiences consensual? How can some experience be consensual and then some other experiences not be consensual? And you're like, oh, you were a fan, and then you see even, a lot of fans of these public figures. You see them go oh, I would never say no to X, Y, and Z. She's so lucky, blah, 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 blah. And it's you never win. Like I've said before, as a survivor, you just don't win. And sadly, we don't have a lot of education around the nuances about consent. Let's see what the chat's saying. Totally agree, Shay. What is Shay saying here? It makes me so upset when people say survivors come forward for money and game. No one wants to be famous for being a SA survivor. It's all about protecting others from going through what they did. And you know what, Shay, you're right, because Lindsay Hill said, her final statement, I guess, was, I'm never going to be able to stop Trevor Bauer, ever, she said. But at least I will make him think twice about that again. Something along those lines. And I think it really sums up, either the survivor is coming forward to keep others safe. And also, I think a lot of the time, a survivor's like, how do I get this person to realize what they're doing is wrong and that there's consequences? And then you got a system, guys. You get a system, I'm getting like pissed off. Then you get a system who like literally doesn't help you. Like you have a system built up against you that's not trauma informed, doesn't even understand the nuances around consent, doesn't even understand consent actually at all. If the person didn't just straight up say no, then they're like, was it really the R word? And like, were you kicking and screaming and, blah, blah, blah. And like, look at Lindsay Hill. Very brave because she was in a sexual fling with him, right? So right then and there can be a lot of victim blaming just for that alone. And then you put into it that she was experimenting. And then it turned, she knows how that's going to go. Sadly, I don't think survivors come forward and think they're going to win. They know it's going to be hard. They know it's going to be hard. But they do it, like Shay said, for the safety of others. Let's get pissed off. It's what we need. We can't tolerate this. I agree. It's like, fuck this shit, guys. And then he just goes up and he's like, I'm so happy that I get to talk now. Oh, wait, sorry. Mick, thank you so much. Keep doing great things, Alexa. I wish I was local. Thank you so much, Mick. Me too. But like, he goes on, he's like, hey guys, like, I can finally talk now and let you know that, she's a gold digger. Just wanted my money. And he just like shows like three pieces of evidence and a video of her in bed with him. And it's like, really? That's it? Like, in my opinion, personally, like, that's all you got, bro? Because I was hoping you were really going to explain yourself and also take some type of accountability for what did happen to Lindsay in the sense of look at her face, right? You were admitting and talking about it with her via text message. And you guys, there is an actual recording of them that the police recorded, Trevor Bauer and Lindsay Hill having a conversation about what happened. And I don't know, maybe Miko can say in the comment section, was this leaked, Miko? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Has anyone seen this? It's wild, you guys. I want to play it. You guys should watch Overthink Podcast's recent lecture on redefining consent. It's a little heady if you aren't already familiar with philosophy, but it's totally worth it. I would like to absolutely, let's, Miko, write that down. I'm like, he's with the kids. He's not going to be able to do anything. Someone say that I do want to watch that listen to that podcast. I want them all in jail. My mom. I mean, honestly, yeah. Okay, so I wanted to know and confirm a reporter leaked it. Great. So a reporter leaked a conversation with Trevor Bauer and Lindsay Hill about the alleged incident. So let's listen to we got the transcript here. Oh, this is great because I'm not sure if I'm able to okay, great. This is great. Let's show this. Okay. And also, do we have the video as well? We do. Is this a YouTube? I might have to. Do I have to stop this every 30 seconds though, you guys? That would be like the bummer. But let's get into it. Here it is.
It's kind of like blurry for
here.
It's kind of like blurry for me, obviously, because it was like coming out of like in and out of consciousness. But so I did ask you to hit me.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm just like, I'm trying to wrap my head around it because like, obviously like,
okay.
I'm just like in a lot of pain and I like don't remember like specifically asking you to like hit me. And I mean like that, like, did you mean to hit me that hard?
Ooh. Okay.
No,
Hello, Trevor. You there? Still?
like, that's why it's confusing, you know, because
Oh, I can't hear it.
I didn't feel like I hit you that hard, you know.
Yeah.
And certainly, like, I checked on you multiple times. Like, hey, do you want to stop?
This guy, he is struggling, you guys. I don't know how the chat's feeling, but like listening to him, he is struggling.
Are you okay? And like you said, like to keep going. So I just was trying to like follow your lead on it, but like I don't want to. Like I'm not. I don't want to do that anymore because I don't want
I don't want to do that anymore. Too bad.
to hurt you. Like I'm.
Yeah, no,
That's never the point of it, you know.
yeah, and like that's the thing is like that's why, and like I really appreciate, like, I know it's not like easy to talk about, but like I just appreciate you talking to me about it, because like I like love spending time with you, and I like want to keep spending time with you, you know. It's like I just want to like communicate about it, so like for like next time,
Okay.
like when I'm around you, like I just like don't have to like think about it and like understand your like intention. But like, yeah, I mean, for me it was just confusing because like getting to the point like where I'm at the hospital, I'm like, okay, I just have to like really try and understand
Jesus.
so I don't like it doesn't like lead me into a mental spiral, you know. But just like I think for it's like the two black eyes and like a
Ugh.
jaw. Like I know you had said like at the end you're like, oh, I got you like with your mouth open, and then so like that's the part I'm just trying to understand, because
She's trying to understand. This literally sounds like somebody who's trying to understand what happens, because honestly, like, okay, I just want to say something really quickly. It's confusing for him. That's it. So not his fault. Is he for real? Yeah. It's like, you guys, like, I can't imagine getting injured like that. Also, like, you could have a possible concussion. Like, I don't even think you're all there when you're beaten, by the way. Like, getting beaten like that, to me personally, I don't know if you're all there fully, right? Like, I just personally don't know if I would be all there. And so her trying to recall and get him to be like, can you please walk me through this? Like, I want to know when I said this. I want to know when I did that. And she's asking him. And you can just tell he's kind of, it sounds like he plays baseball. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But like he's a little, you know, he's like really trying to like watch his words. Like you can tell he's trying to watch his words and what he's saying. There's some guilt in his voice too, in my personal opinion. It just sounds like somebody who, I don't know, something weird's going on here. Trevor.
like I know you asked me before because you were like, you know, what's off limits, and I was like, oh, like don't, you know, do the fingers down my throat thing, and like
So she told him.
like I know it's like I guess I'm just trying to wrap my head around it, I guess. And like I don't really like, what did
Here we go.
you talk about beforehand in terms of boundaries? Like what was your like understanding?
Oh shit. So she's asking him, like, let's go over what the boundaries were. So obviously somebody who is experimenting with this, obviously they're creating safe words. They probably have to let each other know what their boundaries are, like what's an absolute no, and you know, et cetera, et cetera. So here she is asking him, can we talk about the boundaries that we set? So what were the boundaries for Lindsay Hill? Let's continue.
Just, you know, so like we can be on like the same page like moving forward. But I just want to know like what year like you thought was like okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like you had, just kind of from our text conversation, you had asked me. Like,
Okay.
I haven't really gone back and read it, but you said something about like slapping in the face and like whatever else I wanted and stuff like that. And then like I feel like that's kind of what happened, and
What, dude?
I just wanted to check on you. We had the conversation about that kind of being your way of like escaping and just kind of like letting go. And
Yeah, like in terms of like the choke, like that I said to you about like choking.
yeah, and like we talked about like how you kind of how you felt like going out and like coming back, and you said that you wanted to do it again because you felt good, like it made you feel good.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
I was just trying to, like, I really appreciate you as a person. I like spending time with you and stuff.
And stuff. This guy's
Yeah.
a douche. I don't like this guy.
It's like, yeah.
I'll never, like, if we set, like, I'll never cross boundaries with you. I thought that, like, everything that we had talked about was, like, you know. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, this is not even the part. I wish this wasn't. There's an actual clip within the actual full video. There's a full video on YouTube where essentially she says the thing that was off limits from my memory last night, off limits was the beating. Right? She was like, it's the choking, whatever, and she like talks about it. And then I'm pretty positive, I don't know why that's not the one that they chose for that clip on Twitter, because what I heard last night was her essentially saying what the boundaries were, and he was confirming that. He was confirming those boundaries, and that's why at the end of that little section, he's saying, I will never cross your boundaries, like, because he crossed allegedly some boundaries. And just listening to him, like, this is somebody who you did that to, for example, like that image of Lindsay Hill. Like if we look at that image of Lindsay Hill, look at how he's talking to her. Like it doesn't even seem like someone who actually cares at all about her, in my opinion. Like he just seems so, I don't know, just like not remorseful. Kind of seems like, you know, he's watching what he says. Like he kind of understands that maybe someone else is going to be listening to this conversation, to be honest with you. And I got a vibe from him that he like really did not care. Didn't care at all. You know, that was just the vibe that I got. Don't really feel good about that guy. I just don't. And looking at those messages, and there's a lot more, and I really do suggest that you go online and listen to that full YouTube leak, the conversation between them. And really, I mean, if you can, obviously, if it's too triggering, like obviously do not. But listen to it for yourself and listen to that conversation. Look at the conversations that she was having with those around her. Look at the conversations that she was having with Trevor Bauer, allegedly. And, you know, before jumping to a conclusion that she is this gold-digging liar, I don't know if we need to jump there, because she could be interested in who he was as a public figure, and could be interested in his bag, for example. And this also still could have happened. Like, you know, and it's just kind of sad, because I feel like alleged predators really put money over human lives. And that really seems to be capitalism for the most part. And the patriarchy. And he's trying to get sympathy from people that he was exploited for his bag, right? And what Lindsay's talking about is her actual human life. And if you feel more bad for Trevor Bauer and his bag than you do Lindsay Hill's face, and her testimony, I don't know, you know, that sadly just should not be the case. Like, we should care more about human lives, than we do about the bag. And, do you guys want to see the little bits and pieces of the Trevor Bauer, whatever, open letter? Bye, Becca. I gotta go to sleep, catch up tomorrow. Big peace and love to all of you. Bye, Becca. Sleep well. Eat patriarchy. Yeah, but I mean, because the patriarchy is what I think the patriarchy is the brooming process of predatory behavior. I don't even honestly think like, I know it's like male supremacy because it is, but I really think it's predator supremacy. It's like a way to get people to think like a predator. And it's extremely damaging to little boys' lives because they grow up into adults that run countries, etc. And if they were broomed into thinking about money over human lives, for example, right? That just doesn't it doesn't sit well with me. But let's look a little bit at this. I mean, I do want to just play like a section of this.
Star pitcher for the Dodgers. A text Lindsay Hill sent to a friend before she ever even met me. What should I steal? She asked another in reference to visiting my house for the first time. The answer? Take his money. So how might that work?
Okay. This guy's face. So like, here's what I'm trying to say. He's really going for the very easy parts of how to exploit someone like Lindsay Hill and how to get people to see Lindsay Hill in a certain light. And you know what? Is that me? Am I that type of person that would message something like that? No. And I know there's a lot of people out there, you know, reading those messages that Lindsay Hill allegedly wrote and going, ugh, that rubs me the wrong way. And like, oh, if she's doing that, like, then she has to be, you know, X, Y, and Z. But let's just remember that there is no perfect victim. A victim can be a very flawed individual, for example. They can do things that we don't necessarily agree with, right? But that doesn't mean they are not a survivor. It just simply does not mean that. Just doesn't mean that. Okay? Like hot. It's 96 degrees, by the way, guys, in Los Angeles. And I'm really starting to feel the heat today. And also just kind of getting upset. I just really don't like anybody that is hitting anyone and getting off on it. I know, I know about fluid, sex positivity, for example. I get it. SEX positivity. And, for me personally, where I draw the line is I don't think that anyone should ever be going to the hospital and looking like they just got beat up in an alley. I think that is really scary, and I just personally don't want that for anybody. It's too dangerous. And what if she died? So, like, this is something to really think about also. Like, what if Lindsay Hill died? Like, what if a mistake happened? What if he went even further than he did, right? What if he went even further than that? What if he went further and she ended up dying unalive? Then it would be, would they be saying that she wanted it? Would they be saying that? Oh, she wanted it. What, she wanted to be unalive? And in those scenarios, that can actually happen. Someone can get so hurt that they're no longer alive. And I just am curious, like, do these people have to die for people to care or to understand consent? Do they? Yeah, even if she was there for his money, being a gold digger. Exactly. Even if that's exactly it. Kid. 100% said it simply and right on the money. Right on the money. Yeah, even if she was there, and maybe even if she is a gold digger, it doesn't mean or does not justify the abuse. It doesn't. It does not justify it. And instead of going into these topics with the OR word, like, things can be and, like, this and this happened. It's not like we have to make a selection. It's like, it's okay. And as a survivor, I can go, oh, that's not who I am. I wouldn't send a message like that. Okay. Maybe she isn't somebody who we would get along on a whole bunch of different things, right? Maybe not along. Maybe we can get along at all. But that doesn't mean that she's not a survivor. And that's, would not want to be a music yeah, no, I agree with you, Josh. Nobody in their right mind would not want to be. No, it's just very scary. So, let's just stay mindful of that when these news cycles come out or when these alleged predators come forward with information about the survivor that is something that we don't like. And I know I got a lot of horrific tweets back at me from, like Andrew Tate bros. And, I saw the wrath of saying something positive about Lindsay Hill, or just like kind of saying that Lindsay Hill, to me personally, I feel she is a survivor. And I just saw like how they responded to that. And it doesn't feel safe, once again, to be an ally for a survivor. And so I can't stress this enough. It does not matter if you think this and I think this. We have to keep in mind how other survivors are witnessing how we are talking to one another about these topics. We need to think about them, and also the potential survivors who are thinking about coming forward. We have to think about them. So if someone's standing up for a survivor, be mindful if you disagree with them. Be mindful of how you communicate, because survivors are seeing how allies and people in the public are interacting with one another, and they're taking note, and they're figuring out if it's safe or not for them to come forward. So it's so important. Alexa, what do you make about my friend preferring the term victim instead of survivors? Listen, I think a victim, a survivor, to me, they're I would first say survivor, and if they wanted to be called a victim, I would say, okay. I think whatever they want to be called, right? And there are some days where I call myself a victim. And I think there are times and spaces to be a victim, and to admit that that you are a victim. Even though now I feel like I'm a survivor, I am still aware that I was a victim. And there are times that I refer to myself as that in certain conversations if we're talking about specific topics. So I just think it's up to the survivor, it's up to the victim, what they want to be called. It's really, really, truly up to them. I don't think there's a wrong or right there. I think it's what they personally feel. Yes, because no one deserves to be yelled at in comments, DMs for standing behind a loved one ever. Correct. And we need to be mindful of that. Stay strong, Alexis. You're on the right side of history. Thank you so much. Yes, we're all on our own healing journey. Use the words that resonate and validate. Correct. That was beautifully said. I think we should always leave it to the survivor, to the victim, what they want to be called personally. And there really is no wrong or right. I switch sometimes. And sometimes I see myself as like a thriver, right? Then we always forget that one. So there's survivor, and then there's like thriving, right? Or a thriver. And some days I feel like I'm thriving. And then some days I'm feeling like a survivor. And then there's days where I feel like a victim. And for me personally, I kind of sometimes go in and out of different feelings. And when I'm here on ePredators, like when I'm talking to you guys and I'm in this community, I really feel like I'm thriving. I feel like the thriver energy. I feel like I'm taking what happened to me and trying to give back and help others, and also help inform others about these issues. And so, I think on each given day, you can come to me and I sometimes feel like a victim. Sometimes I feel like I'm a thriver, and some days I feel like I'm a survivor. Can I just say that abusers can and do allegedly edit things like conversations to fit a narrative they want the public to believe about the survivor? Don't make options on someone opinions based on, yeah, exactly. Diplo had that whole thing with Shelly as well. He deleted a whole, removed his hearts and everything, removed it the day before he allegedly released this defamatory thing about Shelley, in my opinion. And it got a lot of people to believe him. And so Shay is right. We have to make sure that we're not just looking at something out of context as well. There's so much pressure to not be in the victim mindset that people forget that it does feel that way sometimes. Yeah. It's and we don't have to always be strong, you know? And I think that's another part of it. As a survivor, there are days that I just, I don't want to be strong. I want to cry. And I want to allow myself to know that something horrific happened to me, that I didn't deserve it, for example. And that can be extremely healing, not having to always be in the survivor mindset. Sometimes being in the survivor mindset can be counterproductive on certain days, because we don't need to constantly be in that survivor mode. There can be times where we can let ourselves feel like feel the victim, not victimhood in a negative sense, but victimhood in a way of being able to face what had happened to you, and not constantly feel like you have to survive yourself through it. Some days I just want to cry, and some days I just want to watch a movie that I love and kind of shut my phone off and feel like a victim. Because we are victims, but we're growing and we're becoming, and I don't want us to only be defined by those aspects. I think that's the only thing I don't necessarily love about coming forward, which is a lot of things, to be quite honest with you. But one of them mainly being that you really get defined as a survivor. And like the industry, for example, that I'm in, it's hard to be in that industry once you're doing advocacy work, honestly, because people can't unsee your real life, right? And so that would be one of the sad parts about, there's so many, but that for sure. Like, I don't want us to always feel like we're defined, but I do want us to be able to recognize and acknowledge what happened to us so that we can personally go on our healing journey and maybe also help others. That's how I really feel about that. My new therapist keeps implying I am stuck in a victim mindset or something, and it is making me insecure. Honestly, yeah, I don't really appreciate anyone that is telling someone that they're stuck in a victim mindset. I also think there's different ways of wording that than that way. Personally, for me, I just don't find that to be the most loving or supportive way of communicating that, for example, there are some days where I'm stuck. I feel stuck in my trauma would probably be, my own personal take on myself. And there are days where I feel stuck in my trauma, and it's hard for me to kind of see what's in front of me, right? But I've realized that it doesn't last forever. It doesn't last forever. And sometimes they do last a little bit longer than I want them to. Those flashbacks and getting stuck in the trauma, sometimes they're a little bit longer, too long than I would like. But I need that sometimes. I think sometimes we need to allow ourselves to grieve however long we need to. But when it gets to the point, I think for me personally, when I'm not being able to fully interact with the present moment, and that's usually my gauge where I'm like, okay, I'm really not seeing like my mom who loves me, for example, or my beautiful relationship with my husband, or my sweet daughter's face, or, my son's beautiful little cheeks. When I see myself being more triggered than noticing the glimmers, like the glimmers in my life, things that remind me of beauty and the things that I deserve and the things that I am worthy of. I think when survivors forget the things that they are worthy of, that are around them, and forget that they deserve beautiful support, from others, even if it's just the warmth of the sun, you know, going outside and feeling the warmth of the sun on your face, for example. You know, if we get so fully out of touch, I think, with our current present moment for too long, and the only reason why I say that is because we deserve the present moment. We did not deserve what happened to us. We don't. We don't deserve what happened to us. What we do deserve, though, is this present moment. And for me personally, that's kind of where everyone's process is their own process. Yeah, exactly. I might not be summarizing how he says it well, but I keep feeling weird about it. Yeah, and I think it's easy for survivors. Listen, we just read the message from Lindsay Hill, right? And we see Lindsay Hill doubting herself. And I think survivors get so gaslit by their predator. Like, survivors are in a constant state almost of feeling gaslit. They even gaslight themselves because of how bad the gaslighting was, being around a predator and also being around bystanders that make no big deal. Like, for example, my predator literally put my no, the N-O, in his song and reversed it to on, right? And he was telling people that. Like, there was a listening party and that was being communicated. And, you know, no bystander stepped in and said, what the fuck do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Her no, you know, like, what do you mean? They saw it as like, wow, he's so creative. And like, it was consensual because I'm like still with him, right? Because I was still sitting next to him. They legit thought that it was still consensual, So, you know, I think, you know, we're so gaslit not only by our predators, but we're so gaslit by the community at large as well. And so it's very easy for survivors to doubt or make themselves feel bad about what they're feeling or feel two ways about it and not know if they're over exaggerating, or it's just very hard, especially if you're a survivor. If you've been abused, you know, I think that's totally normal, Annecy, to feel that way. But I just want you to know that you don't need to. You don't need to have a time limit on acknowledging the fact that you are a victim of abuse. I think you should have your time with it, and like I said, when you feel that it's fully interfering, you know, then that's time to get connected and grounded in the present moment. That's usually for me a little symbol, kind of, that I'm getting too far away from the present moment that I think we all deserve. Like, we really, really deserve it. I was gaslit by my teachers and classmates. Yeah, and that's what survivors, you know, that's it. That's why bystanders are so important. So it's like, regardless, like with the Trevor Bauer thing, like, sure, you can have your own opinions about Lindsay Hill, but let's not say she's not a survivor because we might not get along with her, right? Or we don't align with her in the ways that she approaches her life. You know, and I feel like a lot of men for a long time, you know, like, why is a gold digger, by the way, a higher crime than beating a woman? Can I just ask that question? Sorry. I need, like, are we really as a society saying that it's worse to be a gold digger than somebody who beats someone up and injures them? Here I go with the survivor. I'm doubting myself. Am I overreacting here? Like, are we really going to say that a gold digger is worse than somebody who beats up an individual to the point where they're having to go to the hospital? I'm just saying, I don't think so. I rather have the, you know, like, gold digging, not necessarily me at all. And though, I honestly feel safer around Lindsay Hill than I would Trevor Bauer. You know, like, at least the money's bag, like, whatever, human life injury. Yeah, he is a creep. I'm not overreacting. Thank you. It's like, do we want to, again, anytime that we are having to weigh human life and money, we are in the spaces of predators. We are. It's okay, Mika. Hey, Mika. Yeah. Anytime though we're having to wear what's more important, a human life or money, you know, this is when we're in these in a space of predators. We're in this space of predators. Predatory behavior, being praised. And he gets to, you know, make that video, and he made a gold digger look worse than him. Jesus, where are we at in society? I forgot I was talking about that yesterday, and it just came back into my mind. It's like, are we really at that level where we respect somebody more who beats up another individual than that's just weird. I personally can't stand with that. Yeah, some people are insane. Like being a gold digger, it's a justification for what happened to her. Totally. Oh, and she wanted it. She wanted the money. But like I said, if she was no longer alive, how would we be looking at this situation? And that's how we have to understand consent. It's like, if you could understand that maybe she wanted to have rough sex, for example, right? Let's say that's what she was getting into. And then it went too far. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. You can look at it like, okay, that doesn't mean she wants to be unalive, though. So if she did end up unalive, you wouldn't blame her for that. So consent just needs to be seen that same fucking way. It's like, if you know that someone could have wanted to do one thing but not another during that thing, then you should be able to understand Lindsay Hill's story, in my opinion. You should be able to understand. He gives me Aiden Coben vibes. Who's Aiden? Who's Aiden Coben? Coban? What, am I saying that wrong? Who is that? Wait, I wanted to also see Corey. Oh, guys, and so I think on Tuesday, let's like dig into Corey Feldman. That's another situation where, the Corey Feldman conversation, he can be a survivor and a predator at the same time. Like, somebody can be this and that. And it doesn't discredit. Like, we don't want to ever discredit. That's another pure example. So, like, let's say Corey Feldman did, like, allegedly do these things. These horrific things to these individuals. I'm not going to say, though, now he isn't a survivor. You just can't, because that's not also how trauma works. Trauma, if it's not properly, I want to say healed, but I my brain's a little like slow, like I'm just like kind of sleepy today. But so I'm going to say, like, how do I describe that? Yeah, like if you haven't really worked on your triggers, really faced some of your trauma, or gotten like maybe some professional guidance, for example, you can become. It's possible, it can happen. And it can be also a way for a victim to try to regain power over the scenario in a really sad way. And I'm not justifying that. It's not justifiable. It's not justifiable at all. And though it does explain how someone can switch from victim to predator, for example. And when I was reading up on Corey Feldman, this is all alleged, but he would seem like that kind of, when I was looking into it, it's that type of a story where he has experienced a lot of ABUSC and allegedly is doing this to other people. So yes, please talk about Corey. Please talk about Corey. I feel so deceived by him. I know, Anasty, and this is like the bummer, but I just want to make sure that we're always being mindful of the fact that just because we don't like a survivor, like, for example, we don't get along with them, our ideologies don't align, maybe our politics don't align, you name it. Let's just make sure that we are never using that personal thought process to take away the right for a survivor to be a survivor. And there is no perfect survivor. There isn't one. It doesn't exist because there is no perfect person. Okay. We are all flawed in our own specific, unique ways. And that doesn't, that doesn't take away our truths just because we're flawed individuals. It doesn't take away the truth. You can, even a person that you think is not likable can be prey for a predator. And they actually sometimes go towards people that can maybe also that people won't believe. That happens a lot too. Like either they'll go after somebody who they know maybe won't come forward about them or be more insecure maybe about coming forward. Or sometimes they go after really strong people to break them down. There's always different reasons for a predator going after their specific prey. So definitely going after somebody that they might be able to easily paint as someone that's unlikable to the world. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying. But I still stand with Lindsay Hill. Yep. When it comes to gay men, suddenly everyone knows what consent is. It happens. And I'm sure many abusers suffered abuse in childhood, but to continue the pattern without proper healing is halting the process of growth and accountability. Yeah, exactly, Miko. Exactly. I will never forget Corey's interview with Barbara Walters. Yeah, we should watch. I'm going to pull up a bunch for next week. I'm going to pull up everything I can. I've been reached out by people about Corey. And so I'm going to go into it. I'm going to pull up everything. We'll spend like a whole episode on that, I think, on Tuesday, and just go into it, listen to what these individuals have to say, listen to what Corey has said about his past, because he's obviously been technically advocating for the fact that there is PDF files in Hollywood, for example, but it doesn't mean that he can't also be harmful to others, right? So let's get into it on Tuesday. Does everyone agree? Should we just go into just Corey on Tuesday and really stay focused on that, and I can pull up everything over the weekend? Is that good? Let me see. Yep, when it comes... Okay, yep, you're right, sadly. I'm guessing everyone's going to be okay with Corey Feldman. And then also, we have Hollywood Bowl protest on the 27th. Danny Elfman. We talked about Danny Elfman a few episodes ago. Nomi is a survivor. We're going to be protesting Hollywood Bowl. They're doing a Nightmare Before Christmas show with him there 3 nights in a row. We want some accountability. We're standing up for the survivor. And so if you can't make it, for example, to the Scientology protest, but you want to go to another one, then we have 2 in 1 month, which is pretty wild. So we have one on the 27th as well. And be really great to see you there. Yeah, let's learn about... Okay. Let's get into it on Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for understanding that I had to come on Friday and I wasn't able to come on Thursday. I did miss everyone, by the way. I really did. So it's just nice to see all of you here, and I appreciate this community so much. And I hope that we all just took away, the fact that let's just be mindful about how we're communicating about survivors that maybe we wouldn't necessarily get along with, etc., and how we talk about those survivors. And if we are, I just think that we should still advocate for them, regardless of if they're a gold digger or, whatever. I still think that we should advocate and believe survivors. Obviously, do your research. Not saying to just blindly do X, Y, and Z. Do the research, but don't let your personal opinions of what kind of person they are interfere with them being a victim. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about this. This is how I feel about this episode. And I will see Members Sunday. So I have Members Sunday for the first time, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm already putting everything together, what we're gonna do and talk about, etc. So I'm so looking forward to bonding and discussing and sharing things with one another with all the members is going to be so much fun. First Sunday, members only. Sorry, everybody else. No, I'm kidding. We'll miss everybody else. And if you, I think it's still at $2.99 today. We're going to have a new tier with more perks for I think $4.99, and we're going to be opening up our Discord channel, and we got new emojis as well. I don't know if anyone's seen them, but we have emojis. We have Eat Predators emojis now in the YouTube chat. So can anyone pull them up? Like, can someone put one of the emojis so I can see that you can see them? Miko put them up the other day, so you should be able to see the Eat Predators emojis. I think we have Dan Schneider and like Brian Friedman. I'm surprised I'm not seeing them. Wait, Miko, can you put them in the chat or like show them? Can anyone else see them? Alleged dad. Awesome. Okay, good. We're going to keep up. If you guys want one and you don't see it there, please let us know if you want an emoji that we don't have up there yet. Please let us know. Oh my God, wait, Mika, you put lawyer bro? I love that Mika just put lawyer bro. Yeah, there's Dan Schneider. Oh God. Brian Friedman. Amazing. Okay, so you guys see them. So for the next tier, we're going to open up our Discord channel, which will be great. I haven't had the Discord channel opened in a long time, and so we're going to open that to those members, and we're just going to kind of figure out the perks as we go along here. So bear with us. But Sundays will always be members only. And so it doesn't matter what tier you're on, for example, members. And so I look forward to seeing everybody on Sunday. I want the pic of that dude in the coffee cup with the legs laughing. Wait, what dude in the coffee cup with the legs? Oh my God, dude, George Rebeck. Stop. Wait, who is that? Wait, I'm cracking up. Okay, wait, we gotta make George Rebeck. Miko, we gotta make George Rebeck. That's hilarious. How much does it cost to join, by the way? For the members? So for YouTube, I think it's $2.99. The first tier is $2.99. And that just gets you as a member. And then the $4.99 will be the Discord. But just to be a member, it's $2.99. So I hope, $2.99 right now. Yeah. What do you think of the Jody case? George. I know, George. Wait, Annecy stopped. Annecy, you are cracking me up. It's horrible. These lawyers are honestly, that's why I'm saying, do we trust necessarily Lindsay Hill with Brian Friedman? I still can't say I do. And by the way, FKA Twigs' lawyer is Brian Friedman. Who has seen the Brian Friedman video? If you haven't, the first few episodes of E-Predators Daily before I was able to go live and while I was 9 months pregnant, I basically released like an open letter about my journey into E-Predators, etc. And Brian Friedman is part of that. So if you want to learn, who that emoji is, by the way, that someone just put up, Brian Friedman. Watch those videos. I explain as much as I can about who he is, etc. But like, for example, FKA Twigs does have Brian Friedman as a lawyer. And, it just makes me nervous as a survivor. These lawyers are not necessarily always trustworthy or reliable. I had horrible experiences with my lawyers, like really, really bad. And so, I'm just worried about survivors, and we want to make sure that these lawyers are properly representing them, that there's not a perceived conflict there, that they're not biased in any type of way, like, just no perceived conflict. Like, we don't want an alleged predator representing survivors. I don't think that alleged predator will necessarily have the best interest, in mind. I really don't. Brian Friedman aggressively trying to clean his image as fuck. Totally agree. With the NDA thing, it's so true. It's so true, Christian. It's so true. It's when I saw that quote by him, I was like, I'm sorry, is that the same Brian Friedman is that? And Joe, if you're lurking, you are on my shit list. Wait, my mom. Miko, did you just see my mom in the chat here? Oh my God, my mom. You guys, Gotta love moms, right? We gotta love the moms being protective. Gotta love the mom being protective. Elcon goes happening ASAP. Okay, you guys. Well, so Sunday, I hope to see all the members there. Postings in the Reddit, etc. I look forward to seeing everybody, and you guys are the best. Again, I hope to see you at the Scientology protest, and have a great weekend. And for those that aren't a member, I will see you on Tuesday. On Tuesday. Oh, and someone DM'd me, but I can't talk about it yet, and it's very exciting, and I can't wait to share the news with you guys. So that's upcoming too. Very excited about that. So have a great night. See you guys later, and have a beautiful weekend. Bye, everyone.